one car, like I made 1.9 million on a flip.
This car, when it came out, was 20,000. Today, it's worth 4.5 million.
These two entrepreneurs have car collections worth a combined $100 million.
It sounds like your car collection's got 2 or 3 times its worth. You said north of 80 million?
It's about 80 million now.
We are here at their private garages to check out some of the rarest cars in the world.
It's the only Bugatti in the world that Hermès designed it and dressed it.
And how they buy supercars as investments, which generates them even more wealth.
I never thought of cars as an investment.
Cars are absolutely investment. I mean, what do you think the highest price car sold ever?
100 million?
Higher.
No. What's the kind of return you can expect to get when you buy a luxury car like these?
They've gone up double to triple what I paid for it. And being that they're expensive, so you can imagine that's a big number, you know, it's as much as real estate.
Later in this video, we even got a car collector who's got over $15 million worth of cars to show you how to invest in your own supercar without breaking the bank.
You teach people how to buy dream cars for $0.
You could be in a Lamborghini right now. You could drive this car and it would literally cost you $600 a month in payments. Cars are no longer liabilities if you buy the right ones.
But before we get into that, let's find out how Manny and David made their millions.
So I'm Manny Koshman. I made my money in real estate, primarily commercial real estate, but my journey wasn't easy. I probably went through 5 or 6 different businesses. I failed many times until I found success in buying real estate, adding value, flipping it for a profit. And I've been doing that for nearly 30 years now.
My family was in the jewelry manufacturing business, my father since 1965. I joined the business full-time after graduating from USC. I changed the business model from wholesale to retail, and I brought in watches. About, I would say, 13, 14 years ago, I really developed this passion to collect Ferraris. And I guess today, with the collection I have, I'm considered the most recognizable Ferrari collector in the world.
With David being the largest Ferrari collector in the world and Manny owning some of the rarest cars in the world, I had to go and take a look.
Here you got the 288 GTO. That is today easily $4.5 million. You got a F40 today is $2.5 million. You got a F50 today is $5.5 million. You got an Enzo today that is easily $5 million. Since then, I've been trying to make another collection of it in yellow. So I have an F40, which is not here because it's in the shop, but I have an Enzo, I have an F50. And because it's yellow, they made less, it's even more rare and it's even more valuable. I'm trying to collect and assemble a 5 of the big 5 in yellow. Nobody has 2 sets in the world, that's for sure. The car that I got last year, it's a tailor-made.
You mind sharing what it's going for?
This car is easily in the market right now going for 1.3 million, I think.
So this is a Pagani Huayra. This is also a one-of-one.
This is one of
design.
one?
Yeah, they made a 100 of them, but this has unique design seats, which Hermès designed. Comes with, $200,000 worth of bags, 7 or 8 piece. These are Bugatti Rembrandt edition.
Rembrandt?
And yeah, so this one I paid $2 million and it's worth north of $4 million. So I doubled my money in this car. There's only 3 in existence. So hang on to something like this in 10 years, it could be worth 20 million.
How do you think of cars as an investment?
Cars are absolutely investment. I mean, what do you think the highest price car sold ever?
100 million?
Higher.
No.
146 million, if I'm not mistaken. It was a SLR Moss that sold, I think, a year ago. Maybe I had arms out to buy. 146 million.
How do you choose which cars to buy as investments or not?
Well, I look at definitely for exclusivity. It's got to be exclusive, so that means very limited run in production. I like definitely under 100, like Pagani Huayra, they made 100 coupes. This one, they only made 3. This one is obviously one of one because I commissioned it.
What kind of returns are you expecting from your car investments? And then if someone wanted, like myself or someone watching, wanted to get started with car investing, what would you recommend?
One car, like I made 1.9 million on a flip on one car. It was a Koenigsegg Agera RS. It was a Swedish car. They made only 25, so it was very exclusive. I would suggest if you want to invest in cars, Porsche is a great brand and it's like entry level.
Okay.
And there's a lot of older 911s you can buy that the price have doubled, tripled in the past 10 years. So do your research. Porsche is a good place to start. I own several Porsches. I just got a GT4 RS that I love.
Check it out.
So these are selling probably 80 to 100,000 over a sticker.
Over a sticker?
Over a sticker. So you can drive this for a year or two. All right, maybe it's not 100,000 over, but you won't lose your shirt on it. I mean, Porsche keeps their value. So I would say Porsche is a great brand to start collecting if people are interested to diversify and buy some cars, and if they really enjoy the car, right? I enjoy cars. I like driving them.
If someone wanted to get started collecting cars as an investment,
Yeah.
like what would you recommend?
Like anything, you need to do your homework. You need to buy something that you like, okay? Because even if it doesn't go up immediately, you enjoy it. You enjoy the car. You enjoy the car and you can have fun with it. If it goes up, it's a bonus, you know?
So when you say you study, what do you study?
Well, you study kind of like what are the market prices of the cars have gone up from the beginning until now. You see the trend. For example, so here we have the red one, let's say. This car, when it came out in that time, was 20,000, okay? Today, it's worth 4.5 million. You know, you got a car here, it's a race car, it has race history, it's been in a race, it's even crashed and be brought back and whatever. As we know today, there's 4 existing looser competitions, you know, of these cars. I bought it for not 20,000, I bought it for more, but a lot less, but today would be anywhere from 15 to 20 million.
This car?
Yeah, right here. Because there's the rarity of it, because of the, you know, the racing history it has, that's how you would assume the value.
If someone wanted to buy a Ferrari and they're just starting out in their career,
Yeah.
like what would you recommend them to go do?
First of all, figure out what do you like to do? What area interests you? Then I think the smart thing to do is to go work for the best company in that sector. Get the exposure and recognition of the clients that are engaging in those big companies. And if you take on that business, that those crumbs that are on the table that's too small for the company but not too small for you,
It's good.
it's a solid business. And I've seen a lot of people made a lot of money doing that, a lot of money.
We had an absolute blast checking out these car collections, but now it's time for you to find out how to invest in your own supercar without breaking the bank. We sat down with PJ, who ran a business helping wealthy people affordably invest in supercars, and now teaches thousands of others who aren't as well off to do the same.
What does your car collection look like today, and how much is it worth?
About 15 million. So I have a Bugatti Chiron that's about 3.5 million. I have a Porsche 918 Spider that's about 1.8 million. I have a Ford GT, a new one that's about $1 million. I have an old Ford GT that's about $500,000. Multiple Rolls Royces, all brand new, customized. Every Lamborghini you can think of, like Lamborghini SVJ Roadster 101, Lamborghini Technica, Lamborghini Urus. Majority of my cars though are probably in the 600K to 2 million range.
For someone who's listening that's making like 50 G's or give or take around there, what are the steps to buy their first exotic car as an investment?
The way you should think about it instead is, how do I save money driving a conventional car that is nicer than the one I could probably afford if I leased it or did something normal like that? Instead, what I should maybe think about is, how do I make sure whatever I drive enables me to keep the money safe so I can reuse it for my next car instead of losing it away. The average person says, I make 50K, I'm told I go online and I check how much monthly car payment should I afford. So they go, ooh, this calculator said I can afford $500 a month. Okay. They go, that means I can afford a $30,000 car. So I'm gonna go buy a $30,000 car, whatever I can find, and I can afford it. Let's say for that ES350 that is costing you, for example, $450 a month, whatever, what if you could have a BMW M3 that was really brand new, was a 100K car? Now, let's say you're paying $700 a month. On the surface, you may say, well, wait a minute, I'm losing $200 more a month on my car. Wrong. You see, that's how poor people think. They only see what they're shown. So they go, if I can afford it, that's what I'm paying attention to. They don't go, what does the real money look like? So if I pay $700 a month instead of $500, I didn't necessarily lose $200 more. I just contributed $700 a month, right? Now, what if I bought the car for 80 grand, and what if at the end of the 2 years when I don't want it, I sell it for 78? My 700 has paid down the loan more, so I have equity in the car where I get a check once it's sold. And what people don't realize is that there is a whole dollar in valuable cars, and cars are no longer liabilities if you buy the right ones.
Tell me about one of your customers' stories about an exotic car and like how they got it for so cheap.
There's people that just don't believe they can afford exotic cars specifically. I had one student who was actually someone that I knew, wasn't very rich, and he drove like a Hyundai. It was really crappy. And Joaquin was making roughly about 100K a year. So I was like, hey, you know what? Like, you could be in a Lamborghini right now. And he's like, it's impossible. Like, how could I afford a Lamborghini? And I go, well, you can actually buy a Lamborghini, which I helped him find the Lamborghini, and it was about 100K. It was 105K to be exact. It was a Lamborghini Gallardo. It was a 2006, so it was like a nicer, older Gallardo. And it had very low miles. And I was like, you could drive this car and it would literally cost you like $1,000 a month at the most in payments. But what would occur is when you go sell that car, you basically get your $1,000 back. You know, so whatever you put into that car, over time, you'll basically get it back because you'll sell it for slightly more, and they'll cover basically your payments and your interest and stuff on the loan. So can you afford $1,000 a month? And he's like, well, yeah, but which bank is basically going to give me a loan when I drive a $10,000 car for a $100,000 car? And I'm like, well, that's easy, because usually banks look at how much money you make in a year and they basically match that to the car. So if you make 100K like a year, they usually give you a 100K loan or around there, as long as you can put like 15, 20% down. He goes, well, I got 15 grand. That's not a problem. I saved it. I was like, yeah, you can buy that and you can have this car. And then he sells his car and it ends up costing him. So he basically lost a little bit of money. He lost $3,000 and he basically drove this car for like, it was about 8 months total by the time it sold, you know? So if you take 8 months and you divide it by the $3,000 true loss he had, I mean, it was not that much money. You know what I mean? Like he was basically driving this car for like $600 a month, including his insurance, which was ridiculously low. You know, to drive a Lamborghini for $600 a month is like to get a Volkswagen Passat lease, you know, on a fully loaded Passat. So, but what occurred is the people he met, the businesses he was able to start talking to, and more importantly, the networking he was doing, completely changed his view on how he couldn't live without it now. So it went from this guy that loved cars and I wanted to go driving and really enjoy that idea of having a cool car to drive, to understanding that there's a lifestyle shift that occurs by having that car. And so what changed in his life is that his life improved tenfold, and now he wasn't even concerned about losing money, even though I was telling him you can get that money back. He's like, I don't even care, I want to upgrade, I want to upgrade, I want to upgrade. 2 years later, after that first car, he now drives a beautiful $650,000 Lamborghini Aventador SVJ in a very rare color. And he's been driving it for a year and a half, and he's technically made, if he sold it today, he would have made $100,000 on that car, despite the market on cars having been softer in the last 6 months.
I think one call out that I'm noticing as well from talking to different car and watch investors is that you have deep passions for these areas.
I would have done this even if I was losing money. I may not do this at this level if it was really a loser. You know, like I may say, hey, I just have like 5-6 cool cars and I really love them. Even when I was poor, I had a nice car even though the payment was way over what I could afford at the time. So like to me, those things were part of what I was gonna do anyways. So why not learn to do it in a financially responsible way or get richer doing it?
If you love this video, you are going to love this video right up here. I can't point, but you can go check it out where we do a full interview with Manny Koshman about his money, his cars, his story. It is amazing. Check it out and subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Uncle Noah loves you, and I'll see you out there.